Welcome to this edition of Capital Dateline, the award-winning statewide public affairs show, reaching 6.4 million cable households on Fox Sports Sun. Capital Dateline brings you interviews with Florida's leaders, whose decisions and opinions touch your life every day, from the governor and legislative movers and shakers to the media and public educators. And now, the cable industry of Florida and the Florida Cable Telecommunications Association are pleased to bring you Capital Dateline.
Welcome to Capital Dateline Florida Speeches. This show highlights significant speeches given each year by state and local elected officials, issue advocates, and private sector leaders. In this edition, we're pleased to bring you a speech from Republican State Senator Joe Negron. It was on the day he was chosen by fellow Republicans to be the next president of the Florida Senate. The job of Senate President is one of the three most powerful in the state, along with the governor and the House Speaker. Senator Negron from Palm City was elected to the State House in 2000 and was elected to the Senate in 2009. A lawyer and former chairman of both the House and Senate Appropriations Committees, Senator Negron will assume the job of Senate President this November. The designation ceremony attracted the governor, members of the Florida cabinet, former legislative leaders, and constituents from Senator Negron's home district. The first order of business was the nomination process. Miami Senator Sen Terry Flores addressed the Republican caucus and referred to the contest to win the Senate presidency as one of the reasons she was nominating Senator Negron.
I mean, let's be honest. The path to this designation has been less than perfect and at times has created a divide that needs to be repaired. I believe that behind Senator Joe Negron, that repairing begins today. As we will all witness over the course of his presidency, his strength is in his ability to empower and motivate others to do the right thing. His political strength is the collective strength of the members of this chamber because he recognizes and encourages the talent in each and every one of us. Presiding officers have always recognized Joe's talents, and they have offered him a seat at the table because Joe has a knack for helping navigate through difficult, complicated, and demanding issues because he's a really smart guy. No matter the problem, he brings his lawyerly level of analysis, an unyielding commitment to learn an issue inside and out, and the ability to carry out negotiations that enable every issue to be resolved. From PIP to healthcare reform, leading the budget process in both chambers, or staunchly defending his constituents, he has been asked to take charge during difficult times, and he has succeeded. Most of us schedule meetings in 15-minute blocks. Not in Joe's office. You get 5 minutes tops. Well, Joe's so intelligent that he only needs a 5-minute meeting to grasp an issue. Except sometimes the meeting's is over in 2 minutes. So I know most of you have been sitting in this situation, right? He looks up and he says, okay, I got it, 2 minutes in. And you say, wait, did I say something wrong? Did I upset him? Is Joe Negron giving me the brush off? No. What you don't realize is that he really got it in 2 minutes. He's fine with your issue and probably already has a plan on how it's gonna happen. So my advice, quit while you're ahead. Don't take up the rest of your 5 or 10 minutes that you have left in the meeting, because unless you're talking about the Braves, you're probably gonna lose the support that it really only took 2 minutes to get. Because Joe is not your typical politician. He doesn't play games. He doesn't say one thing and mean another. He couldn't do that if he tried. What you see is what you get. If he says he's with you, he's with you. This is a man of his word, and he will not go back on it.
Senator Elizabeth Nuevosto from Fort Myers seconded the nomination of Senator Negron as the next Senate president. She stated that Senator Negron's presidency would have some lofty goals.
Some that will be very easy to accomplish, some that will require a gentle hand on his shoulder to say, slow down, sir. And he will solicit our input and he will compel us to act. He will ask you to take a stand for the environment. He will ask you to take a stand for our universities. And he will ask you to take a stand for the woman in a nursing home who shaped our community. But mostly, members, his presidency will be defined by how he strives to make each of you a success. For your district and the people you have the privilege to serve. In Senator Negron, we have a man who cares, who constantly tours, as Senator Flores said, learning, listening, brainstorming, listening to the concerns of our community, and developing solutions to solve problems that we experience. I urge you to take a seat at the table next to him, because big ideals, big things, big opportunities are on the horizon. And the greatest measure of a true leader is when your colleagues join together to elevate you, as we're doing today. We join together as a united caucus. And when our names are called, we will answer, Joe Negron. The opportunity to forge the future is before us, and I can think of no better person in this moment to lead us than Joe Negron. There is no need to manufacture your own joy today, my friend. Today belongs to you and your family. Savor it. As we all know, it was thousands of miles on the Jeep, late night Waffle House stops, and crazy, can you believe that just happened moments? The moment is yours. Make us proud. When my name is called today, I will say, Joe Negron. Congratulations, my friend.
Thank you very much.
And that's what happened next. The roll was called, and along with Senator Benaquisto, all of the other members of the Republican Senate caucus voted for Senator Negron. Before Senator Negron spoke to the caucus, Senate President Andy Gardner looked back on the time when they both came to the legislature.
Very briefly, I was thinking about this moment this morning, and I see a lot of our former classmates from the class of 2000, the freshman class that came in together. And with the election of Senator Negron as our next president, that class of 2000 will now have put 4 portraits on this chamber. Senator Atwater, Senator Herodopoulos, myself, and now Senator Negron. It's a pretty cool thing. And it's also, it also confirms the House conspiracies that we all talk about, that obviously House members come over and be a part of it. But this one, Senator Negron and I sat next to each other on the floor of the House. And Mark Mahan is here, who is a judge now. And we would sit and spend many a times, we were freshmen, and reference Seinfeld and many other things. But it built a friendship over the years that it's so special to see this for Joe and for Rebecca and the family, and especially for the members of that class of 2000. So it is truly an honor to introduce the President-designate, Joe Negron.
As is custom, the designated Senate President outlined his goals. Senator Negron's topics ranged from restoring Lake Okeechobee to juvenile justice, the sanctity of following the Constitution, and the teachings of the famed German theologian Dietrich Bonhoeffer. He started his speech with a top priority.
Issue number 1, let's make our good universities great. Over the past decade, thank you, Governor. Over the past decade or so, with nominal support from the legislature, our universities have significantly improved in their quality and in their reputation. Universities, to me, are special, exceptional places where students meet, they gather, they get to know one another, they plan, they dream, and these become our future entrepreneurs and our future creators. If you look around the country, if you see vibrant, sustainable economic development and high-paying jobs, you almost always see a strong university presence. And how about this for workforce development, which we hear a lot about today? This happens thousands of times on university campuses every year. As students walk across a graduation stage, they have a diploma in one hand and have a job offer in the other hand. My vision is for our universities in Florida, which are good, to go to the next level, to become national elite destination universities like the University of North Carolina at Chapel Hill, the University of Virginia, University of Michigan, the University of Texas at Austin. And just as students in Florida now apply to these universities and many times attend them, imagine a time when students from around the country will apply to Florida universities to come to Florida to get a great education at a national destination university. So what will it take us to get there? I've talked to our university presidents and I've asked them, and they tell me they need three things. Number one, we need to recruit and retain the very best faculty. Two, we need to enhance our graduate schools and our professional schools. And three, we need to address aging infrastructure on many of our campuses. It won't surprise you that I have a few ideas of my own. I'll just give you three. Number one, 2 years ago, we established the Benequisto Scholarship Program for National Merit Scholars in Florida who were being recruited to go out of state, and we wanted to keep them here in Florida if that was one of their options. And we now have 413 students on full National Merit Scholarships because of Senator Benequisto and her idea. I wanted to see us expand that so that we're competing for National Merit Scholars from other states to come into Florida. So that's number one. Number two is I think it's important that every single student in Florida and every single family in Florida, that a student can obtain a higher education regardless of their economic circumstances. And so I'm proposing that we increase funding for our Florida Residents Access Grant and also for our Florida Student Assistance Grant to make sure that college and a university experience are available to everyone who qualifies and everyone who has earned the right to attend one of our universities. Thank you. And then finally, I would like to see us restore the academic scholar level of Bright Futures to the time and to the circumstances that we had before the Great Depression, when changes, of course, needed to be made and properly were made. But I would like to see us, over time, restore the top level of the Bright Futures Scholarship to 100% of tuition, plus a $300 stipend for textbooks, and that's one of my goals. All in, counting tuition, counting state support, North Carolina spends about twice as much as Florida does on its universities. Virginia spends 50% more. So while money isn't everything, where your treasure is, there your heart is also. And I have no interest in building administrative castles. I don't want to build bureaucracy. I want all new funding to go directly to programs that benefit students in the classroom and also benefit them after they graduate and go on to live productive lives. So with that understanding, over a 2-year period during the 2017 and 2018 sessions, I will propose that we fund an additional $1 billion to our universities for performance funding and for preeminence funding to make our good universities great.